This is a book I spent £1 on, and this is a book I spent £9 on. I bought this book secondhand, and as you can see, it is in quite bad shape. This is a regular paperback, but it's in much better shape. But what happens if you spend 10, 20, 50, 60, 100, or even £1,500 on a single book? Well, let's answer that question. So, if you're willing to spend £13, so that's £9 plus shipping, you can get a paperback from the broken binding with a signed booklet in it. So this is basically a brand new book with a signature from the author, and in this case he even wrote a quote. This definitely makes the paperbacks feel a bit more premium, and also you can get 5% off using this code. But if you're willing to spend £18, then you can get a proper hardback. This is a regular hardback with beautiful end papers, a beautiful spine, and overall this will just look amazing on your shelf. But if you know where to look, then sometimes you can buy regular hardbacks that are also signed. So for example, for this one I paid £19 plus shipping. This is a first edition of the Shadow of the Gods that is signed by John Gwynne. Now this is just a regular hardback, so there's nothing special about the binding or anything, but it is a first edition and it is signed. And books like this will usually sell out really quickly. So that's £18 for a regular hardback and £18 for a regular hardback that is signed. You just need to know where to look. And this is a book I spent £20 on. This one is a bit more special. This one has beautiful sprayed edges, has a beautiful end paper, is signed by V.E. Schwab, and also has this absolutely amazing naked hardback. And as you can see, this hardback is much smaller than a regular hardback. £20 is quite a lot for a book, but when you get sprayed edges, a signature, and also art on the naked hardback, then you could argue it's definitely worth it. And this is a book that will cost you £25. Firstly, just look at the art. How beautiful is this? So here's the spine, and the cool thing about this edition is, it is a slipcase. This is so beautiful. Granted, this edition doesn't have sprayed edges, but it has a beautiful end paper and is also signed and numbered by the author. So this book comes with a Goldsboro subscription, so you can't just go to a store and buy this one. But for £25, this is really nice. Back in the box it goes. But if you're willing to spend £35 on a book, then you can get a book like this. So this is the special edition of Malice, which is a reprint of the original hardback, but it also has sprayed edges, which is beautiful. But what makes this book so valuable is that it's signed and numbered by John Gwynne. So there's only 500 copies of this exact book in the whole world. So yeah, there's not that much special about this book except that there are only 500 copies and is signed and numbered by John Gwynne. Also, I just love this series, so I'm so happy to have these. Alright, we're getting to the more expensive books now. So this is a book that you had originally had to pay £40 for, and that is the Goldsboro edition of The Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Now this book is beautiful and impossible to find online for anything less than £80. Fortunately, I didn't pay that much for it. So firstly, on the Goldsboro edition, you can see that the art is different on the cover than the original hardback. I really think the Goldsboro cover is so cool, but there's more. This book also has beautiful sprayed edges. There's nothing special about the end paper, but this one is signed and numbered by J. Kristoff. But my absolute favorite thing about this edition is the naked hardback. How cool is that? Just look at the art with the sprayed edges. This is incredible. And also just a nice touch, they will usually add like a protective layer on the dust jacket as well. But what if you spend £55 on a book? What do you get? Well, this book cost £55 new. So this is a special edition of the Pillars of Peace series by Tom Dumbrell. So there's a new cover art. All 3 books in this series are in this book. So you don't have to buy 3 books individually, you can just buy this omnibus. It has beautiful sprayed edges. It's signed and numbered to only 300 copies in the world. So there are only 300 copies of this book printed in the whole world. But the best part is the naked hardback. How stunning is this art? And also some additional goodies. Each book has a new cover art. There's a big map. And the chapter header is so detailed and beautiful. And also, the libraryofaviking blog is mentioned at the end of this book. It's not cheap, but you get 3 books, you get a signature, and there's only 300 copies of this in the whole world. Alright, we're getting to the very expensive books now. So if you buy this book new, then this costs $100 US. This is the special edition of The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. So this is a leather-bound book with beautiful edges, a ton of art, and this one is also signed by Brandon Sanderson, a cool chapter header, and the end paper. Now this is a very premium product, but you actually get a lot of value for your money. There is so much additional art. This is leather bound. I mean, how beautiful is this? You have these beautiful gold edges, and it's also signed by Brandon Sanderson. It is really hard to recommend a book like this because of the price point, but I have no regrets buying this. This is one of my favorite books I own. But the most expensive book I own costs $200. Now this is technically 2 books, but just because the story is so long, he had to split into 2 volumes. Most of you guys know about The Way of Kings leather bound. This book has a beautiful case, and as I mentioned, there's 2 volumes. You get an incredibly premium sticker. I'm just joking. But guys, look at this. How stunning is this? Similar to the Mistborn one, this is also signed, has so much additional art. It is just mad. Just look at this. And also in the book there are even more illustrations. So I've actually done a whole video talking about the leather bounds for Brandon Sanderson. So what I will say here is that you definitely don't need to spend the money on these, but if you do, then you get a very premium product. But what if you spend 500, 1,000 or even 1,500 pounds on a book? There's just no way I could afford books that are that expensive. And that is why I'm going to visit James, who has one of the most impressive fantasy collections I've ever seen. So we're here with James, who owns so many beautiful books, and he owns books in the price class of 500, 1,000 and 1,500 pounds. So James, do you want to show us a book that is worth 500 pounds?
With pleasure. So yes, here we have a 500 pound book. When it's retailed originally. Now trying to find a copy of this on the second-hand market, you would be looking well over £1,000, possibly 1,500. So very lucky to get this at retail, and it's just one of the most beautiful books that I own. You get this very striking case with the Reverend Mother on the front, and then inside you have this oversized, gorgeous edition. This is the same internally as the standard edition that Folio Society do. Just the materials here, the limitation, these were only 500 copies, of which I think this is quite cool. This is number 50. So that was nice, 50 of 500. And a lot of the times you'll find that what actually drives the price of these high edition books is the limitation and how few of them there are. So there were 500 of these. And as we look at some of the other ones, you'll find that there are far less. So moving on next to a 1,000 pound book. Again, Folio Society. They do limited editions, and this this massive thing is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I mean, it's what you can just look at it. I mean, it's very special. 1, because of the art that's inside. 2, because of the signature. We have a silk lining on the boards. We have illustrations, quarter leather binding. We've got some very intricate embossing and foiling work. I don't know if you can see on the 2 towers, but a lot of people always think that it's all uneven. You know, when they see the designs, they're like, why is this up here all the way up there? What's going on? But actually there's an embossing of, I think it's Barad-dûr there. So very sort of intricate design details there. It also comes with this fantastic map. Fantastic maps, again, I love maps. And this has some great ones inside here that fold out, and just overall the presentation, the materials and everything that they've used for it is just you know, just top class. Okay, so here we have a lettered edition. Now, I mentioned earlier how the limitation is one of the big factors in the price of things. So this retailed for £1,500, and one of the reasons is that there are only 52 of this book that they made. So you know, a lot of the editions that you see here are numbered. There are 500 or 1,000 of them, but a lettered is a far fewer, and they often put a lot, they try and go the extra mile and do something very special. So here we can see that with Dark Matter. The boards are actually made of aluminium. It's just, I've never felt a book like this before, and this is something quite special. So when small presses and companies do go the extra mile and produce something different and new and special, that's also something that you're paying for when you get something like this. And of course, it is signed by the author, the illustrator, and Andy Weir, who did the introduction at the beginning.
So when it comes to buying these incredibly beautiful but expensive books, who are these books for?
People who have very understanding partners, I think, for one. And it's for people who sort of appreciate books for more than just the stories within, but also the art and the expression of them beyond just, you know, the pages inside.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, James. Make sure to check him on Instagram, Fantasyfile, to see more pictures of these beautiful books. Now, you might think that this video was edited better than most of my videos, and if you're thinking that, then you are correct, because this video was edited by my editor James and was paid by my Patreons. Currently, 100% of the money from my Patreons goes to hiring an editor to do 2 videos for me a month. So if you want to support what I do here and help me provide better quality videos, and also getting benefits such as accessing my monthly Patreon exclusive video, and also accessing the monthly Patreon exclusive author interviews, and getting occasional voting rights and also your name in my videos, then I'll leave a link in the description down below on how you can access the Viking clan.